Tarek, is it true?
It's true.
You've become a Christian?
Uh-huh.
That is so amazing. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God. Brother, my God. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you.
Bless you, brother.
Yeah? Well done, you. Yeah. Yes, go on. Feel free. Ask a question.
So I want to go because we've somehow gone right into like the Arabic and stuff like that. Let's go back because I was asking specifically about why you worshiping a Jew. Okay.
And I answered that because Jesus is God.
Because Jesus, right? But he's a Jew, right? Okay.
We're not worshipping because he's Jewish.
All right. Jesus
We're
himself.
worshipping him because he's God.
Right.
Do you acknowledge that answer?
To me, he's not God, but I'll acknowledge that. That's what you believe.
That's what we believe.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Why then, in Matthew 15:27, does Jesus talk to that woman, the Gentile woman?
Yes.
And she's asking to be healed, or
Yes.
I think it's her sister.
It's her daughter.
Sorry. So she's asking for her daughter to be healed. Her daughter is sick, right? But her daughter is a Gentile. They are Gentiles.
Yes.
And he's saying, I didn't come for you. I came for the sheep of Israel.
Came for the lost sheep of the house of
Sheep
Israel.
of Israel. So he did not. He only came for the Jews. Jesus only came for the Jews.
Yep.
That's what he said.
Yes.
And then she answered him, "Don't even the dogs
Eat the
dogs
crumbs from under her table.
Okay.
From under their master's
Hang
table.
on. So she's
Just helping you with a verse.
That's fine. All right. So she's saying, don't even the dogs eat from their masters, the crumbs of their master's table. So okay. So and who she's referring to here? Their master is who? The Jews.
Yeah.
Right. So you Christians have to believe that.
No, sorry. My apologies.
Oh, sorry,
I want to correct myself. That is not what she's referring to. The relationship between masters and dogs.
Okay.
She's not referring to Jews and Gentiles.
Okay. Then how does that make sense?
Right. So allow me to make it sense for you.
Okay.
Right. So the term that Jesus uses in that term is called a diminutive. Do you know what a diminutive is?
Sure.
Right. A diminutive is when you make something small.
Okay.
So in Spanish, for example, they use diminutives like chiquita, which means like little girl.
Okay.
Or chico. I don't know how to do it, conjugate.
A diminutive. That's
yeah,
it. I understand
a diminutive.
Right.
And you.
Diminutive, by the way, is dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
But
Yeah.
we have to admit.
So that would mean puppy.
Yeah. So Gentiles or dogs.
Listen.
Diminutive.
Are we going to interrupt one another again?
Go ahead.
Right.
The story of the Canaanite woman who came to Jesus seeking healing for her daughter is often misunderstood, as if Jesus were insulting her by calling her a dog. Yet when examined textually and etymologically in the original Greek, it becomes clear that this was not an insult, but a profound and deeply theological dialogue. In Matthew 15:26 and Mark 7:27, Jesus responds to the woman's request by saying it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. However, the word dog here does not come from kaion, which refers to a wild or unclean dog, a term often used by Jews for Gentiles. Instead, the word used is kinaria, the diminutive form of kaion, meaning little dogs or puppies. In Greek, a diminutive form does not express contempt. Rather, it softens the tone, adding affection or gentleness. Its Latin root, diminuere, literally means to make smaller, not to demean. Thus, Jesus was not calling her a stray dog, but likening her to a small house pet, one that lives among the family, close to the children and their master. This linguistic nuance changes the entire atmosphere of the conversation. Jesus was not rejecting the woman. He was testing her faith. By using a domestic metaphor, the children eating at the table and the little dogs waiting for crumbs beneath, Jesus painted a symbolic picture of the divine order of grace, first to Israel and then to the nations. The woman understood the meaning and responded with humility and unwavering faith. Yes, Lord, yet even the little dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. The word she used for Lord was Kyrie, the vocative form of Kyrios, meaning master or Lord. There is a beautiful play on sound and meaning here between Kyrios, Lord, and Kenaria, little dogs. The woman implicitly acknowledged Jesus' divine authority as Lord, while Jesus revealed a love that transcends ethnic boundaries. By placing herself in the image of a small puppy waiting for the crumbs of grace from the master's table, she demonstrated great faith and deep humility, which is why Jesus declared, "O woman, great is your faith." Theologically, this exchange is not an act of exclusion, but a revelation of how salvation expands from Israel to all nations. Etymologically, the use of the diminutive canaria conveys tenderness, not rejection, a way for Jesus to refine faith through a language that is both challenging and compassionate. Thus, this dialogue is not an insult but a bridge, a movement from the little puppy under the table to the full embrace of grace from the Kyrios, the Lord of all nations.
So the term that he uses is what you would use for puppy or a house dog, rather than the feral, rodent kind of dogs that were roaming around all over.
So it's like a pet.
Right.
Yeah.
So listen.
One
right?
of the family who loved dogs.
Right. I'm going to start interrupting you if you keep interrupting me. Right. And this again is going to backfire on you. It's going to backfire because now I'm going to quote Muhammad, and you're going to have to defend Muhammad now, right? So Jesus does use that, and they are playing on a racial tension, definitely.
Yeah.
But the fact that the woman comes back to him with a quick fire retort, right, shows that there's banter going off between Jesus and the woman. In the same way that in this park, people play on rivalries to make jokes. I'll give you the best joke of rivalry that I've heard amongst Muslims is when a Sunni and a Shia have a child and they call it a sushi child, right? That is a Muslim joke. It was told to me by a Muslim, right? I heard that joke from a Muslim, right? Right? What they're doing is they're playing on a paradigm of rivalry, but what they're doing is they're humanizing it. They're making it cute. They're using it actually as a way of bringing themselves together. And that's what's happening here. Jesus, yes, there is a racial context in which Jews look down on Gentiles. And yes, Jesus and the woman are playing into that context, but the language that they are using is making it human. In other words, there's no hatred going on here. Now that I've answered why Jesus uses that and talks on that, let's just also point out something. The bit that you missed. In this very text, right, this woman is then held up as an example to everyone who reads it. In other words, the very text that you're accusing of racism is picking a Gentile woman elevated by Jesus and saying that that is an example to follow. That is the very opposite of racism. That's like me saying that the person that I hate the most, or the group of people that I hate the most, and then saying that actually follow this example of this person. It's the very opposite of racism because it goes against the attitudes, right? Right. It's like if I said to the EDL crowd that Joe here is a good man, you should be more like Joe. Right? That's cutting across the prejudice of the EDL to you. Agreed? That's what Jesus is doing. But now you answer me this, right? Muhammad said that Satan looks like a black man. So the worst and most evil being in the whole creation looks black. Muhammad said that you should obey your leader even if he looks like an Ethiopian with the head of a raisin. Now, why would you use that term? Because if you live in hot cultures, hot countries, and you're dehydrated, your skin wrinkles and you get old. And so Muhammad is using a racial term towards black people, black elderly people, because when they get wrinkles, if you had a racist attitude, you might say that their head looks like a raisin. Would you agree that that's racist, brother? Would you agree that that's racist, brother? There you go, two black people think that that's pretty racist. So you tell me, why was your prophet a racist?
If we look into Islamic sources, the often quoted text comes from Sahih Muslim, where Muhammad is reported to have said, "The black dog is a devil." While the text does not literally say black man, the symbolic pattern is unmistakable. The color black is associated with evil or danger. Color becomes a moral category. In another hadith, a leader is described as an Ethiopian slave whose head looks like a raisin. Here, African physical features are used as an ethical idiom, a symbol of social lowliness. urging obedience even to one who appears inferior. Classical scholars tried to explain this as metaphorical language, not racial, but a call to humility and submission over tribal pride. Yet from a modern ethical perspective, such idioms undeniably reflect the social biases and physical stereotypes embedded in Arab culture of that time. Jesus Christ stands on an entirely different plane. He lived in a world deeply divided by ethnicity, between Jews, Samaritans, and Gentiles, yet he never linked morality to skin color, race, or physical form. When Jesus spoke of light and darkness, he spoke in spiritual terms, not biological ones. The light of the world and the darkness of sin had nothing to do with human skin. He praised the faith of a Roman centurion, conversed with a Samaritan woman whom his people despised, and healed the daughter of a Canaanite woman. In his words, there is not a trace of racial idiom, only a love that transcends every barrier of tribe and color. Here we begin to see the true moral and theological difference unfold. Muhammad's speech still carries the cultural symbols of the society into which he was born, while Jesus speaks the language of God himself, a love that is pure, timeless, and universal. Muhammad's language mirrors his era. Jesus' words transcend all eras. The hadith about the black dog can be historically contextualized, but it undeniably echoes an ancient human bias toward color. Meanwhile, the words of Jesus erase all human hierarchies. There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus.